Makes a lot of sense for him. He's got 2 years of guarantees built into it. And so another weapon for Jalen Hurts.
Josh Allen is that guy up front that you got to worry about. So, good for him, good for them. I think it's smart, and he's a damn good football player.
It was an easy decision on my part. You know what I mean? I'm coming back and staying with the team and this organization.
Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Zuckerberg Merkel, here with the coach today, Aaron. Go and say hi.
Hi, if you like our content, be sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and let us know what you think.
But other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So in this video, we'll be taking a look at a few of the most recent contract extensions around the NFL. 3 of the bigger ones being Devonta Smith, signs an extension with the Eagles. Josh Allen of the Jacksonville Jaguars, not the Buffalo Bills, signs an extension with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Deforest Buckner signs a short little extension with the Indianapolis Colts. So, starting off with the Devonta Smith extension out in Philadelphia. The Eagles and Devonta Smith have agreed to a 3-year extension, setting Devonta Smith up with the Philadelphia Eagles through the 2028 season. Terms were not disclosed, but a source told ESPN's Adam Schefter that the contract is worth $75 million with $51 million guaranteed. The Eagles also exercised Smith's 5th-year option, however, which will pay Smith a salary of around $16 million for the 2025 campaign. Smith becomes the 5th receiver in the NFL with a contract averaging $25 million or more per season, joining Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, and his teammate, A.J. Brown. So, with that being said, Aaron, I think the first question that comes to mind has to be, how can the Philadelphia Eagles afford to pay not only Devonta Smith, but A.J. Brown? They just signed Saquon Barkley, of course. I believe they signed Jalen Hurts to an extension. If not, it's coming up. How do the Philadelphia Eagles find themselves with enough money to be able to afford this extension?
Probably a combination of, guys leaving and retiring. I mean, Kelsey's no longer there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Fox is no longer there. So they lost some big names that garnered a lot of attention and money, and now they're focusing on this young core that they've got. I believe they extended Jordan Mailata earlier in the offseason, if I'm not mistaken. So also shoring up kind of that O-line. But yeah, this is a big get for them. I mean, he's a number 1 receiver on a lot of other teams, and that combination of him and A.J. Brown is just absolutely lethal.
Yeah, ever since A.J. Brown came to town, I mean, ever since those two have linked up in Philadelphia together, that offense has been just lethal. I mean, this locks the Eagles' offense up to be one of the best in the NFC for the next 5 years, probably. However, you look over on the defensive side of the ball, and they haven't really made a whole lot of improvements over there, where they kind of seem to hurt the most, specifically in the secondary. How do you think their plans moving forward are as far as improving the secondary goes with all this money going to Devonta Smith now?
Young cornerbacks, whether it be in free agency or the draft. I mean, I don't know what their cap situation looks like. I haven't really looked, but I would imagine that go and get a bunch of as good of young guys as you can and kind of bring them up kind of the way the Chiefs did with Snead and McDuffie.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, trade up in the first round for the first cornerback in the draft, what some people apparently...
No, they wouldn't do that for a depth guy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Apparently that's considered a depth corner to some. But moving on from the Eagles, we can go look at the Jacksonville Jaguars with their own Josh Allen, not the quarterback, but the edge rusher, signing a 5-year, $150 million contract extension, including $88 million guaranteed, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Aaron, what do you think this says for the Jags moving forward? I mean, obviously this is a commitment to contention. They had a rough season last year. I think you could attribute a lot of that to injuries, however, specifically to Trevor Lawrence and the rest of the offense. Uh, but obviously, with Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker for an extended period of time, I know Trayvon Walker hasn't exactly gotten off to the best start in his career, but still a lot of upside there, being the first overall pick a few years ago. Do you think the Jaguars are kind of committing to a more defensive team, maybe letting obviously Calvin Ridley go up to Tennessee? Do you think the Jaguars are committing more to maybe a defensive-minded team?
I don't know necessarily about that. I think they're seeing sort of the talent that's coming into the division quarterback wise.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
point.
and they know that they're going to need to be able to put pressure on that. So keeping Josh Allen around, uh, as good as he is probably a really good move. He's probably the biggest name on that defense since Jalen Ramsey. So somebody to kind of keep and set the culture there on that defensive side of the ball is a good decision in my opinion.
Yeah, do you think it kind of keeps them on pace with the Texans in that AFC South? Because, I mean, the Texans have improved probably far and away more than any other team this offseason. So you got to think that the Texans are still the number one team heading into this season, right?
Yeah, I mean their offense is just stacked, and I think it's gonna take a really good draft for the Jaguars to kind of really set themselves above them. I think they can still contend with them, but I do still think it's kind of the Texans uh, division,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah, it's probably between those two teams, but also don't count out the Colts either. That division's gotten really tough real quick after being really mediocre for a long time. So I'm excited to see what those three teams specifically can do. And then who knows? Maybe my man Will Levis down there in Tennessee can get it going too. You never know. You never know. With D Hop and now Calvin Ridley, maybe they draft Brock
Yeah,
Bowers. That'd be
with
pretty
the
cool.
nursing home receiving core that they've got there,
Yeah.
it's great.
Okay. I believe
No,
in Will.
those guys are
I believe in
those guys are still
Mayo
elite.
Man. I believe in Mayo Man. Lastly, in this video, we got Deforest Buckner getting a 2-year, $46 million extension with the Indianapolis Colts. Speaking of the Colts, staying in the AFC South, didn't even realize that till just now. Obviously, he's kind of been the heart and soul of that defense for a few years now in Indianapolis, being a staple of that Indy front seven. Anthony Richardson, basically still a rookie this upcoming year, going to need all the help he can get on the defensive side of the football. Try to make his life easier as he tries to gain footing here in the NFL. What do you think of this move, bringing DeForest Buckner? I guess not back, but extending him for the next few years.
I mean, it's a great pick. He's probably one of the better D tackles in the league. Um, and it's not like defense was really their problem last year. If I remember correctly, they were pretty good on
No,
defense.
they're
It
pretty
was
solid.
just kind of yeah, this is a big bring back.
Yeah, their front seven specifically was really good last year. I think if anything, they had weak points on their secondary, but their front seven was definitely not the problem last season. So you hope that bringing back DeForest Buckner can hopefully provide some stability on the other side of the ball for Anthony Richardson as he hopefully can get his first full season under his belt here this next year, um, with some really good pieces around him too. We mentioned that the Jaguars are kind of probably second place heading into the season in the AFC South, but I don't think the Colts are far behind. I think it's going to be a real dogfight for those last couple wild card spots in the AFC this next year because there's a lot of good football teams in that conference specifically. So, where do you think this kind of puts the Colts in the AFC hierarchy right now?
Probably solidly third.
In the AFC what South? Yeah.
Yeah, the Titans have just had a lot of turnover lately, so still kind of shaky on them.
And
New
just lost Derrick
quarterback, so we'll
Henry.
just kind of yeah, so we'll just kind of have to see where they line up next season. But yeah, we just kind of talked about the Texans and the Jaguars. They're good,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I think we're gonna have to see a little bit more out of Anthony Richardson before
I'm
we
excited.
can kind of actually be give a fair assessment of where the Colts will be. But
Yeah,
they could be good if he really pans out.
I want him to be good so bad. He just looks so fun to watch at Florida. So I'm hoping that he can finally get that first full season this year. But unless you got anything else, I think that'll do it for this episode. The most original sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle, here with my co-host today, Aaron. Go and Aaron.
Bye.
All right, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Other than that, deuces.